Depot devoid.
Depot Divide!
Depot devoid.
Boop.
Ah, God, I hate it when that bitch screams in my face. It's terrible.
You should really stop inviting her to hang out with you.
Apparently, it's. God damn, she's noisy.
Yeah, that's the thing about bitches.
They always yelling in your ears.
Bitches be noisy. That's that's what they say at the comedy clubs, right? Is
Yeah,
there a,
yeah.
is there a brick wall behind me? We are here on the Depot Devoid, as we have been before and probably will be again someday. I am Matt Fagan, and you? Who are you?
I am Ted Fagan, awaiting my next thought train.
All right. Hopefully it comes along before the free Zoom meeting runs out. The purpose here today, it is June. It is early June. It is in fact the 3rd of June, another sleepy, dusky Delta day. That is not in the show we're here to talk about. Although it is Tallahatchie Bridge Day for those who celebrate. Uh, we're here
We're going to talk
because
about a show?
we're here because it is the beginning of what some people back in the days when America had freedom and hope used to call Pride Month. And we thought we would kick off for Pride Month, or maybe we're just using it as an excuse because Ted failed to watch the movie a couple of weeks ago when we were originally going to do it. But it works for Pride Month.
Hey, I was just waiting for what is now being rebranded as Hyper Anti-Gay Month.
Ted was digging in his heels and refusing to watch the queer movie until queer time.
I was digging in my high heels,
Your
thank you very much.
your high heels, perhaps even your cha-cha heels.
What are these?
Those are your new shoes, Dawn.
Those aren't the right kind. I told you cha-cha heel black ones.
Nice girls don't wear cha-cha heels.
Give me those presents. I don't need you to wear those ugly shoes. I told you the kind I wanted. You ruined my presents.
Please, Dawn, not on Christmas!
Get off me, you ugly witch.
You devil, come here, you'll pay for this.
No, we're not talking about female trouble, despite the reference to cha-cha heels. We're here because I love Hedwig. I love Hedwig for those of you who pronounce your W's that way. Hedwig and the Angry Inch is what we're here to talk about, which I am assuming Ted had definitely never seen before.
Eine kleine Babyschlange.
Just a little bump there. This is a movie from 2001 based on an off Broadway stage show from the late 90s, adapted for the screen by the original book writer and star of the show, John Cameron Mitchell. I saw this right after it came out on video, which was like December of 2001. And honestly, it didn't really resonate with me at the time. I enjoyed it, but I wasn't really clicking with it. I think part of that might have been the guy that I was dating at the time, who I was just super not into, and we watched it together, and he liked all the he's one of, okay, you know how I don't know if you know this or not. In the gay community, there is a phenomenon among some gay men to just unabashedly love anything that was gay at all. And it didn't matter what it was or what made it unique or interesting. And this is a phenomenon that certainly was more common in the late 90s and early 2000s, when representation was much smaller. I was always kind of judgmental, probably too judgmental. Uh, but I
So
didn't like a lot of stuff that I was supposed to like.
So basically, what you're trying to say is that sometimes gay people like anything gay, like some people like anything bacon.
Probably a similar phenomenon.
It's like, and not to try and be too rude or make anybody angry about anything here, but it's like how a lot of white
Ted,
people,
Ted,
a
how
lot
could
of
anyone be
lot of
made
white
angry?
fat people love chicken, bacon, cheddar, ranch, anything. And
Oh,
it makes me mad. And I will stand on my soapbox and say they are wrong to do that.
ranch is kind of a deal breaker. Yeah, there wasn't nearly as much queer positive content in the late 90s. Uh, and what there was generally wanting. Um,
It was superficial as hell.
I
Let
I
me put
was
it that way.
let I didn't watch Will and Grace. Let's say that. I was not a Will and Grace guy. That was not a thing where I felt any kind of representation. I feel like if I had been in different circumstances when I saw Hedwig for the first time, um, I might have found something more interesting in that because Hedwig is fascinating and it's really queer, but it is not easily categorized the way a lot of queer content from that time is. And that's what makes it still work 25 years later. Whereas I suspect if I were to watch an episode of Will and Grace right now, I would hate it even more. And Hedwig, I just like more. The more I see it, the more time goes by, the more I am impressed by what it was doing in the 90s when no one else was giving a voice to anyone like this. The character is bizarre and fascinating and unapologetic, and I love it when a character is complicated in a way you like many aspects of her, but she's also kind of horrible. Because she's been so traumatized, but she is unsympathetic and she's mean, but also there's something so much more there. I don't know. I just it's a very layered and interesting performance, and I feel like every time I watch the movie, I appreciate something different about it. Um, and you, I assume, have now seen it one time.
Yes, with some overlap between the watching, because I did have to watch it in three different sets because I fell asleep the first time, I ran out of time the second time, and then I finished it, and there was like only a few minutes left, but I didn't know that.
Did you know anything about it going in other than what was on the back of the DVD case that I sent you?
I didn't even read it. I only knew the cover. I wanted to go in blind, and
Excellent.
it was highly entertaining. Really enjoyed it. Really like the music. Definitely need to listen to the soundtrack of it so that I can become more familiar with the songs. I really enjoyed them. It was a lot of fun.
That's what kept me coming back when there was something about the music that kind of stuck with me, and I don't even remember what it was, but like years and years later, something it Hedwig kind of passed through my radar again, and it kind of tickled this memory of a song, and I sought it out again, and after that second time, I kind of like I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
I got it from the library through interlibrary loan like four times before finally I was like, all right, I'm going to treat myself to the Criterion edition and just buy like the fancy one for myself because obviously I'm going to continue returning to this story. And the music it's terrific, and you do really need to like spend time with it because it's like the songs really matter in a way that people may not be accustomed to with it's not a traditional musical.
No.
Most people think of musicals, they think of a story that is being dramatized in which people periodically break out into song. And
Right.
Hedwig, all but one, arguably two songs in this movie are actually just they're diegetic. They're just being performed to an audience by the character in the movie.
Yep.
Only Wig in a Box, which is an amazing song, is the only one that's really performed like a traditional musical number, with that, which is completely like sort of separated from reality, in which characters are breaking into song and sets open up and it's very like Busby Berkeley. But for the most part, it is just that the songs in the movie are songs that the character of Hedwig wrote and is performing to her audience. And they
Yep.
are really good songs. And they're in a variety of styles. I mean,
They are.
there's kind of something for everybody in this movie. And most of them are like really fucking good.
And I gotta say, one of my favorite genres, and I know it's not everybody's jam, I do like punk rock, but I like it when it's not like garbage punk rock like Blink 182 or Sum 41 or any of those other goddamn number bands that are emo trash. I like, good punk rock, and there's some fucking good punk rock in this shit, and I need to listen to the soundtrack,
Yeah.
and I need to actually engage and digest a lot of what's going on, and not just the punk rock songs. I mean, the whole damn thing was fun.
It's an excellent show. I would love to actually see this on stage. I have never been fortunate enough to actually see Hedwig being performed. I have watched numerous clips and performances on YouTube. Most of like the biggest Broadway version, because this was an way off Broadway show. And then the movie happened and won some awards at Sundance. And then the show was mounted as like a revival on actual Broadway, like in 2014, I think. And the most of the biggest names who performed for that revival, you can find versions of their performances, at least of some of the songs on YouTube. Some of them are like pretty good quality, so you actually get it's kind of hit and miss with some of the other shows, but the Broadway ones are generally of pretty good quality, so you can kind of see them. I enjoy Neil Patrick Harris is like the most famous one. Taye Diggs also did it for a while, and they are enjoyable. I honestly, I have not seen anyone that I enjoy more than John Cameron Mitchell. I People inevitably compare this show to Rocky Horror. It's
Nah,
not. It is not similar.
nah,
But
not at all.
what I will say is that the extent to which Tim Curry is sort of untoppable as Frankenfurter, I kind of feel the same way about John Cameron Mitchell and Hedwig. I feel like no one gets it or brings the depth to it that he does, not that I have seen. I mean, I am 100% sure there are people out there who do an amazing job. I have not had the pleasure of seeing someone do that. I would love to, but I love the character, and I think that it's probably, I mean, certainly with a single performance, it is harder to bring the variety to the story that John Cameron Mitchell does in the movie, because the movie is sort of opened up from the show. It is my understanding that while the story is the same, the way that the show is presented is really like you are attending one of these performances that she is giving. And so you get all of these songs and her story pattern, and it's still the same drama that she is relaying to you, but it's still her in the moment engaged with the audience, and that is very different from the intimacy that you get in some of the scenes in the movie where she's really, like, I'm sure, especially um her really intimate interactions with Tommy, and those that the difficulty of them connecting and the pain of the rejection. I doubt that you can achieve that in the same way in the stage show, the way the show is presented. But again, like, that's just, I haven't seen it. So people who are loving the show, do not quote me on that. And if I'm wrong, I am wrong. But I love his take on her character in this movie, and I think so it is so huge and also subtle. And I think that um one of the things that I love is being able to see those different aspects. And so when you see him playing Hedwig on the stage or in the restaurant, and engaging with the audience, and doing that sort of vaudevillian patter, and the rim shots, and being mean to Yitzhak. uh I think that because you also have gotten to see their other interactions outside of this, um, it brings more to it. It brings something that, like, when I see Doogie Howser doing it, it's different.
Right.
No shade to NPH.
Hey, to be fair, Neil Patrick Harris has a wide variety of things that he can play, and I absolutely loved him in Dr. Horrible's sing along blog. That is probably my very favorite thing that I've ever seen him in.
That's a fantastic piece. I love him in that as well. And Nathan Fillion as Captain Hammer is
Oh God,
amazing.
yeah.
That's a great little show. It sucks that Joss Whedon turned out to be a fucker. Uh,
Yeah.
but I loved Dr. Horrible. I think that's probably my favorite Joss Whedon thing. If I can just think about them separate from Joss Whedon, who sucks. Uh, but yeah, I love Neil Patrick Harris in that. And he is good as Hedwig, but John Cameron Mitchell is just John Cameron Mitchell's better. Uh, I guess we should, for those of you who haven't seen Hedwig in a minute, just the basic story. I guess it's going to be hard to be like, oh, here's the 3 sentence explanation for Hedwig. Um, this story is about uh, Hansel Schmidt, a young little slip of a girly boy living in East Berlin during an unpleasant time in history, and he dreams of finding freedom in the West, and he lives a life of escapist fantasy in Western music. And as a teenager, he strikes up a relationship with a big, sexy American GI named Luther, who offers to marry him and get him out of the country to the West, where things will be better, right? But as it turns out, um, you got to leave a little something behind. And so Hansel's mother, Hedwig, gives him her name and takes him to a doctor that she knows can do the job. And so Hansel has a sex change operation that goes wrong. And it is apparently sufficient enough to pass the legally required medical examination for him to marry Luther and get out of the country. But he is left with, well, as he describes it in song, Ted, a 1-inch mound of flesh, with a scar running down it like a sideways grimace on an eyeless face. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the Angry Inch. And that is what Hedwig has to work with. And so she makes it to America, to Junction City, where on their first anniversary, Luther leaves her for a boy. And she finds herself stranded in a place she doesn't know, left behind, and on TV that very same day, she sees that the Berlin Wall has come down and all of her sacrifice was completely unnecessary. Uh, so who is she now? And that is where Hedwig really begins. Uh, Under these bizarre and horrifying circumstances, she is forced to reinvent herself and returns to the thing that always gave her joy, which is music. And so she starts writing songs, meets a local lad named Tommy, who he's kind of her muse. And they have kind of a relationship and they write songs together and she teaches him stuff and fashions him into a rock star. And then he discovers her angry inch and leaves her behind and finds huge success as Tommy Gnosis, using the songs that she wrote and giving her no credit. And that is that's just not going to do, Ted. That's not going to do at all.
No, Hedwig needs to have some comeuppance to distribute.
So she begins a tour of her own. And everywhere that Tommy went, Hedwig was sure to go. And so all around the country, she is essentially stalking him and trying to make a nuisance of herself because she wants credit where credit is due, because she wrote the fucking songs. And so she is following him around and telling her story. He's playing big ass venues, and she is playing a chain of sinking ship themed seafood restaurants that is going out of business. What that means, though, is that they get to just redress the same set over and over again because she's playing the bilge waters in every town, which is, again, Ted, I love a clever use of limited resources. and that's one. Another beautiful one is that they stay at what is it, the Americana Motel in every town, and it's got these horrible pink walls. But as their tour goes on and the money runs out, each room just gets smaller and smaller until the last one is literally like just the width of the bed. Again, I love it. It's beautiful.
It's wonderful.
But this is a story about someone who is deeply traumatized, who is gradually getting to the point where they are able to take active control of their lives in a way that hasn't been possible. But in a fascinating way, we meet her at like the worst time. Like, she is in the midst of just like everything is falling apart, nothing is working for her. She is so affected by all of this that she is lashing out at everyone, and
Yep.
she's being cruel, and it's a fun character in an abstract sense, but it's not a likable character for most of the movie, which I think is a fascinating choice, and it is valid, because this is what this character has experienced is just fucking crazy.
This is an unhappy person who's had a lot of fucking bad things happen to them, and they really, really want to tell their story, no matter how dark it might get. And it part of it's revenge, and part of it's just like because that was their shit, and
Yeah,
they've
I
had
mean
enough
it's
taken. And when you've had enough taken from you, sometimes it doesn't matter how far you go to get it out there and be like, hey, this shit's mine and I'm not going to lose it because it's the
she
thing I can grasp onto.
well, yes, because she's also given like multiple people give her better advice at various points during during the story about ways that she can handle this these events without having it backfire on her. And I mean, even her manager is actually like she's actually being a pretty good manager, and she's telling her, okay, how about, okay, you don't go confront Tommy here, we do this and we can get a picture, and then that's going to bolster your lawsuit, because she's trying to sue the label for the music that she made. And the problem is that no one believes her, and obviously Tommy is doing everything he can to keep credit away from her. And that's uh he's pretty awful like all the way through until right near the end, and then somehow I I think that his redemption song is maybe not fully earned, but uh it's so beautiful that I forgive it. Um I don't feel that there is he doesn't I he doesn't learn the lesson enough um to
Yeah.
just be like, I get it, I'm sorry, you know what I mean? He
Yep.
shouldn't. He was a fucker, he continued to be a fucker long after he had the opportunity to choose otherwise. And um I wanted, I like Hedwig, and I want her to get more satisfaction. But I guess honestly, by the end, um, she or he uh, or they, I don't think need anything more from Tommy. I think I mean, that's what the movie is entirely about, and is moving toward all the time, is this person in turmoil finding the path to acceptance. And I think because we start with, well, we don't start with, but one of the first things we visit is the origin of love, which is based on the Aristophanes bit from Plato's Symposium, I think, about how people used to be these three different types of joined individuals. We were all basically doubled, and then we were split apart, and the concept of love is based on people who have been separated trying to find their other half and become whole again. And that's sort of the journey that Hedwig is on, or at least believes herself to be on. But I think that what happens is, through the course of this movie, um, as she sort of exhausts all of those parts of herself, uh, and she eventually comes to realize that, uh, I mean, I don't want to be as trite as oh, you have to love yourself before you could love someone else, but it's about Hedwig realizing that looking outside of herself is not going to find what it is that she's missing, and not in just a literal sense because she's had something removed, but because her identity has become corrupted, and she has not taken the time to figure out who she is if she's not Hansel. Hedwig was always a transitional identity.
Yep.
And through the course of this movie, Hansel did everything that could be done with the identity of Hedwig and then had to finally move on from that. And I don't think that they know who they are at the end of the movie. I think it's just that they find that they are on a correct path now, because clinging to Hedwig was not the way to do it. And by clinging to Hedwig, she also had to cling to Tommy, because that's all Hedwig could do, because he took everything from her that she had created as that person. And by letting that go, I mean, who knows what might happen. But I'm kind of all over the place here, I realize, but this is I've brought up liminality before on this show, and I wanted to bring it up last week, honestly, because The Goonies is a fucking liminal movie, dude. Like that entire
Oh yeah.
down here, it's our time. That's an entirely liminal space. But Hedwig is a story about a liminal person. The the whole act of being Hedwig is transitional. It is a threshold between two different things, and she has to stay Hedwig for a long time, because in Hedwig gives her the room to figure out what comes next, because Hansel couldn't do that, because Hansel was just suddenly mutilated. It's a crazy story, because uh, on the outside, if you haven't seen it, if you just kind of have a vague idea of what this is, it seems like it might be a trans story, and it's not, because this is not a story about a trans person who uses surgery to become who they were meant to be. This is someone who had something done to them that left them as an unknown, or as she sometimes describes herself, a gender of one. And that is a very strange place to be. And even being able to navigate that space in any sense is fucking remarkable.
And it takes a lot. That's what it's really about, is going through this change and what it is that you take from who you are, who you've become, and then figure out who you are now when you yourself are still scared and trying to hang on to the different pieces that you have been, while not knowing who the final you is going to be. And we don't know who the final person is going to be at the end of this, but we know that they have finally found themselves on a path where they feel like they're going forward rather than just hanging on to pieces. This is realizing where you can let go and just be.
Hansel cobbled together the identity of Hedwig from these women that he admired, these female musicians that he admired when he was a little boy in East Berlin. And that kind of that gave him the courage to kind of face a world that he was completely unfamiliar with. It's got, I mean, even if he had been himself when he arrived in America, being left behind in a place that you don't know is going to be terrifying. Being left behind in a place you don't know, as in a body that you don't know, I mean, that's an impossible thing to cope with. And so it was amazing that he was able to find that that mask that you could wear that makes it possible to engage and to, I mean, what Hedwig did, he would have done as Hansel as well. One has to imagine. Like this is what he wanted to do. He had the talent, and as Hedwig, she was able to bring that out of herself. But I mean, I feel like Hansel could have done that too. But to find that ability as Hedwig meant that she finds herself writing for a male voice, and that is, I think, where some of that confusion starts. And so she creates Tommy Gnosis out of this kid that she meets in Kansas City. um and you have to assume that is who Hansel imagined he was going to get to be when he became a rock star. And that wasn't going to happen for him now. And so he gave it to someone else who just, again, as he says in song, took the good stuff and ran. And he thought, I mean, she thought they were sharing something, and Tommy just took what wasn't his. And that's the second dude to really fucking betray her. And well, the second dude since she came to the States. Uh there were some dudes in childhood who definitely betrayed young Hansel. Um
Mhm.
this kid this kid has been through the fucking ringer. And the strength of Hedwig is what saves him from the absolutely destructive consequences of this series of betrayals that has befallen him. Um, I I mean, that is what impresses me so much about Hedwig. Is uh this is a liminal creation that solves the problem of the betrayals. And I guess I just, that's why I keep coming back, because I never get tired of examining that journey. Uh and I think that one of the reasons that the role is so attractive to people is because I think there are a lot of spaces that an actor can fill in to bring nuance to that character, which you really would have to on the stage show. But in this movie, I don't know. Uh, I love the layers to this.
On August 13th, 1961, a wall was erected down the middle of the city of Berlin. We thought the wall would stand forever. And now that it's gone, we don't know who we are anymore.
We just discovered that we've got 3.0968 years left to live on this planet before it fucking blows up.
At least according to the Zoom meeting.
Zoom says we're all gonna fucking die in just over 3 years. How does that make you feel, Matt?
I would say that listening to Zoom is about as valid as listening to any of our other elected officials at this point.
Hey, idiots out there were believing in the Mayan calendar fucking killing them back in 2014 or some shit. What about those dumb fucks?
Oh, they all died because of the calendar.
Oh yeah.
They're gone.
Here's the thing about the Mayan calendar conspiracy that always got me and made me angry is those dumb bastards out there somehow thought that because the seventh Baktun was coming to an end that we wouldn't have an eighth Baktun. Just like all calendars out there, they're cyclical. It comes to an end and another one begins. Just like every year turns around. It's not like, hey, December 31st is over, we're fucked.
It's like the people who think that just because all of the gated dresses we've dialed so far have 7 chevrons means that we're not going to ever be able to get one that has 8 chevrons. And there's just no reason to believe that.
Yeah, it makes no sense. And the other thing that people didn't really think about is the Mayan calendar started, the first Baktun was something like 9 or 12,000 years ago. And the Mayan calendar did, in fact, take into account the greatest and most accurate calendar that anyone had at the time until people met them. And we started incorporating later on the leap day. The leap day, Matt. Consider the leap day. If you've got 12,000 years of leap days adding up, the Mayan calendar ended years before they thought the Mayan calendar was going to end. These dumb fucks think in 2014. All right, that's the end of my conspiracy bullshit. Fuck these assholes and their stupid Mayan calendar bullshit. Fuck them all. This is Depot Devoid.
I'm sad that it's been so long since I've watched an episode of Ancient Aliens that I can't just start like name dropping all of the people who are constantly being interviewed for the bullshit talking head segments on Ancient Aliens.
There was one guy on there that I kept trying to get Ian to dress up as for Halloween. I don't even know his name, but he had like white and gray hair and a beard and glasses. And when Ian got big, like he was towards the end, he would have fit perfect for it. Just turn his hair gray. And it's the guy who always talks like this and really pisses me off extra bad.
Oh, yeah, so the guy who talks like that. That show was very entertaining, but stupid as hell.
Oh, absolutely stupid. Ancient Aliens pissed me off to no end.
Yeah, it makes me sad because I feel like even though it was an enjoyable piece of entertainment, that like there are too many really dumb people here who just think that everything is true, like everything that they've ever heard is true. And that that is not helpful. America is bad off enough without people just, oh my god, dude. Okay, we're at the beginning of Pride Month, and Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth just ordered them to change the name of the naval ship that is named after Harvey Milk. Yeah. That now, okay, here's the thing. I can tell, I don't know if you can guess this. Do you know why they decided to do that?
Because Harvey Milk's gay and we don't need any gay Navy people anymore?
Oh, you're making it too complicated. It's because they're a bunch of cunts, Ted. The answer is because they are a bunch of fucking cunts. And
that sounds like another conspiracy. We're going down a rabbit hole here.
I think you mean a conspiracy.
Well played. Conspiracies, my favorite kind.
It is definitely a conspiracy, possibly of the stupidest kind. This is Depot Devoid reporting from the stupidity contest that is contemporary America. While we still have a Pride Month, might be our last one. They may just remove June from the calendar next year just to keep things simple. We are talking a little bit about Hedwig, and I guess this is one of those movies where I don't have basically everything that I have to say is just like, I love this part. Oh, guess what? I also love this part. Sometimes it is easier to talk about a terrible movie like Laserhawk. Whereas this I just love celebrating this movie. It impresses me. I find it joyful. I think that it's full of really clever storytelling bits. Some stuff that is just not even obvious, right? Like one of the things, most of the scenes that we see Hedwig performing are in bilge waters. There is limited evidence that she performs elsewhere, but one of the bits that I love that is just it doesn't really hammer itself home. They just kind of set it up and let it be. She's performing at an outdoor music festival called the Menzies Fair. but it's on a little hillock, and basically there is evidence that a festival is taking place because you hear a large crowd somewhere in the distance. But on the hillside where our scene is taking place, it's just one tiny little stage set up near a row of porta potties. And that is where Hedwig is performing. And it's it's just it's just fucking hilarious. But they don't make a big deal out of it. They just this is where we're set up. This is where it's happening.
It's pretty
And
great.
it's really, really funny. And she has literally one person in the audience for her show. It's such a small crowd that she just has this kid come and sit up on the stage with her while she tells her stories. Yeah, it's a beautiful little movie. It's the first feature film that John Cameron Mitchell ever directed, so it was amazing that he was allowed to do this, and he did a really good job. He had tons of help. Like he had, I mean, he was a smart enough guy to get people in every position who could assist him to do everything they needed to do because he had never made a movie before. Uh, but what he did was really smart, and this was, it was very much like by the seat of your pants kind of production. Pretty cheap. I think it cost about $6 million, which is not nothing. But
As
it is,
movies go.
yes, even 25 years ago, that is a small number. and it's terrific. I don't think it made its money back, which is too bad. Coming out uh, basically right before 9/11 didn't help.
I'm sure. Oh, so this is the Deepa Devoid of Thought, and I am not going to be able to not grab onto this thought train before I lose track of it. And it actually doesn't belong on the show, but I have to say it before I lose this thought train. We were talking ancient aliens, and again, this really probably doesn't belong on the show. We were talking ancient aliens and stupid conspiracy dumb bullshit. Did I ever tell you why Svetlana became a vegetarian?
I I feel like I've heard this story, but please tell me again.
It's for the aliens, Matt.
Um, for them, like
Yes,
so.
because they won't like you if you eat animals.
Oh, I
They'll like
thought.
you if you eat vegetables only, because you're not spiritually and mentally evolved enough if you're eating animals, and the aliens totes don't eat animals, and they won't come be your friend if you eat animals. Also, I loved laughing at Ancient Aliens because of how stupid it was. Until then, I started realizing that she bought into that bullshit like it was fucking real. And she would watch other shows where people are talking about like these ridiculous time travel bullshit ideas that they would write books about, where they're like, yeah, I was brought into this secret special fucking military program, it's called 20 and back, where I get brought into this thing and they jack me up with this stuff to make me a super soldier, and I'm like fighting shit on other planets, and then like they time travel me later and take it all out of me, and now I'm like getting regression therapy to remind me. It's like, oh my god, how fucking batshit crazy can you be?
Okay, first of all, Ted, we watched Laserhawk, so you know good and well that it's true that aliens are vegetarians. The good ones are. The bad
Yeah,
aliens
yeah.
are not
Eat people.
vegetarians,
Yeah,
and
they
the
eat
good
people.
aliens are vegetarians. It's very simple, and I don't know why you have a problem with that.
I'm sure that she would love that movie. It's absolutely insane, and like literally like years of that crazy and that conspiracy shit. It's hard to grapple with when that's like a person that you live with, and that's really what's in their head.
It's, I mean,
is
it's weird because I, okay,
if you eat meat, your alien friends won't come to play with you.
okay, I mean, that's just silly. The ancient aliens idea, I mean, that's on its face not disprovable.
Hey, there's
I'm
some fun
open.
in it.
I'm
There's some fun
open.
in it.
Like, I don't not believe in other life forms, you know.
Yeah,
I
they're
don't,
out there.
but that's not the same thing as saying that what they talk about on the History Channel program Ancient Aliens has some basis in reality.
Yeah,
That's complete nonsense. They
yeah,
do
and my
have
space buddies aren't gonna not show up because I ate meat.
um I don't be so sure, Ted. Are you, I mean, your space buddies, I mean, I guess if your space buddies are the what are they, Aractoids?
Hey,
Um
hey, I'm an anti-vaxxer, so I'm safe. My space buddies are gonna come play with me, right?
oh my god.
By the way, I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Just saying my
That's,
dumb words because I'm so
oh my
fucking tired of
goodness.
this insanity. There's far left and far right insanity, and I just hate all of it so much.
Yeah, well, I don't mind like the believing in dumb stuff, insanity doesn't bother me when it's harmless. But
Yes.
like the there, I think too much of the far right insanity is just based on a a cruel desire to hurt the most marginalized people as much as you can, and that I just don't. I can't understand that. Um,
No, but I mean, also, if you're so far left that you're judging people and saying that these people are not going to be okay and should be judged so poorly uh, because our alien overlords are going to not like them, it's like, good
I,
God, you've gone a step too far,
I'm not
my
sure if you
bonkers
can.
crazy person.
I'm not sure if you can qualify that as a left or right belief. That's just sort of like a crazy belief. There
Yeah.
there are deeply insane people on both
On
sides.
either end. Yeah, it's a bell curve, and they all drop into that 2%.
Yeah, I mean, I will. Yeah, there were. Do you remember the UFO news guy who lived right down the street from Papa's house?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It was like literally like if you walk out the front door and turn left, sort of toward the Y, and you walk for maybe four houses down, there was a guy who used to self-publish a UFO newsletter, and then he had one of those like those little plastic rainproof thing like hanging on the fence, like right on Olive Barber Road, and he would like, you know, Xerox. I always imagined he had like a ditto machine in his house. But he would like, yeah, put out UFO news. I remember specifically mom and dad like warning me to like stay away from there. That's a crazy like. And so
I do
without
remember
questioning
being told to
it,
stay away from the crazy person shit, but I don't remember any of the details.
well, there were plenty of crazy people on the road we grew up on. They could have been talking about someone else.
It's true. And it could have been the
Horvats.
Oh, yeah, those are some crazy people.
You know what? You can keep all of this in there as long as you bleep out the names.
Okay. I will replace them with weird Eastern European names like members of the Angry Inch.
I love it.
So yeah, I guess the only other thing that we haven't really touched on from Hedwig that I wanted to mention, it's that this whole story is it in different ways uh touches on the ideas of identity and what makes us who we are, and uh how we define ourselves in the sense of like what tools we use to define ourselves, and you know how are we who we are. And most of that centers around the character of Hedwig for obvious reasons, but also her husband Yitzhak is a really interesting character, and we don't really see much of what happens to her between the time that Tommy leaves her and when she is performing and has a band now. But they are all basically Eastern Bloc immigrants whose uh, passports she kind of holds hostage. And apparently a green card marriage to Yitzhak, um, who they don't. I don't think they foreground this as much in the movie as they do maybe in the stage show. But Yitzhak is portrayed as being sort of the more talented musician, and uh, Hedwig is always kind of keeping him down. But Yitzhak also really wants to be a drag performer and is constantly sort of fetishizing the wigs that Hedwig has filling her rooms, and is always wearing a Rent t-shirt and is trying to um, become a performer in a current production of the show Rent. And during the course of this movie, actually auditions in secret and gets cast on a cruise ship production of the show. And one of the big emotional turning point of the movie is Hedwig refusing him the opportunity to take this role and tearing up his passport. Um, but the character of Yitzhak, in order to again just sort of compound the interesting and fluid approach to gender in this movie, is frequently portrayed by a female actor. In the movie, it's Miriam Shore who actually created the character on stage. Originally, it was her role, and she sort of developed this relationship that Yitzhak has with Hedwig. And at the end of the movie, when Hedwig slash Hansel is going through this sort of final crisis and tearing his wig off and tearing apart the clothes that make him the Hedwig character and sort of becoming essentially a visual copy of the character of Tommy Gnosis that he created for someone else. This is where he passes the wig to Yitzhak in order to allow Yitzhak to finally have the opportunity to realize what his dreams were. And it's a beautiful moment in the movie when Miriam Shore, in her full sort of drag king Yitzhak garb, puts on the wig and kind of falls back to crowd surf and lands in the arms of the crowd in full regalia with the sparkly dress and the full makeup and no beard and the wig. And it's a beautiful, beautiful moment.
It really is. And for me in that moment, it was, and I could be entirely reading it wrong, but it was letting go of the things that you felt were important to you, that you were holding back from somebody else, when you are finally accepting what it is that is to be you. Well, Hedwig, Hansel, however we're looking at them in the moment, is taking a step into a new universe that is them. And maybe I'm just reading that wrong, but that's how I saw it.
I don't think so. And I think that, I think there's such a fluidity to this story that I think that it invites multiple levels of reading. There's one of the things that I love about this movie is that there's always more than one thing going on. And that moment is very complex because the characters actually have nuance to them. And so the actions that they take have layers of meaning. And that relationship that they have is very complicated. And part of it is that she needed Yitzhak when she was Hedwig, but she needed him in a very specific way and was very threatened by the things that Yitzhak wanted that would have made him happy, such as the opportunity to perform as a beautiful blonde woman and the opportunity to really display his musical abilities. Like Hedwig was always holding him back because she needed to shine because she hadn't been given that chance, because Tommy stole that from her. And at the end, she realizes that it's not, she doesn't need this, and it's selfish of her to be keeping it from Yitzhak. And
you have to let it go.
And she lets it go, and she gives it to him. And I think that there is in sort of the same way that maybe Tommy doesn't fully earn the redemption that is suggested by his song at the end, Hedwig Hansel maybe doesn't fully earn forgiveness from Yitzhak, but the gesture is being made and the implicit apology is accepted in that moment. And that doesn't maybe mean that everything is better now, but like like with with at the end when Hansel walks off into the streets, like it's we're on a new and better path now. We don't have to be whole in this moment. We just have to no longer be on the path that will never lead us to becoming whole.
You don't need to be encumbered by the history that is holding you back. You get to move forward now. And I mean, honestly, that's something that I really, really feel. And I think it's an important feeling for everybody to have an opportunity to grasp, because shit, when you're holding yourself back with anything, uh, it's really, really freeing to accept who you are.
There is finally self-love on display at the end. And
Yeah.
I think that one of the reasons that this works still today is because it is a very queer story, but there are not a lot of people in the audience who are queer the way Hedwig is. This is not, this is a character that reflects back facets of so many people.
Yeah.
And so you don't, I think that in some movies that are for queer audiences, you get so bogged down in the specific, like this is a gay movie and this is a lesbian movie and this is a trans movie, and because they are specific, then if you don't match that, then you feel like maybe this story isn't for you. Hedwig is unique, so the audience for Hedwig isn't people just like her. It's people who have experienced the social dynamics that she has experienced, people who have experienced the sense of excitement that she has about music, or the sense of possibility that she has about finding completion in love, or the sense of loss that she has in being abandoned and betrayed, the sense of not understanding who she is that she has because she has been turned into someone that she didn't mean to be. As a result, even though we haven't experienced those precise things, we are invited to find in her the things that we share with her. And that's a beautiful thing that still resonates all this time later. It's literally 25 years since this movie came out, and it doesn't feel like it doesn't matter. And I think that there's a timelessness to the story. You know, it's tied to the specifics of the Berlin Wall, but that's this isn't a story from the 90s. You know, this is a story for anyone who ever felt like they didn't belong but wanted to, or maybe wanted to just yell about it.
Yeah, and realistically, all of us have, no matter what our background, no matter what our story is, have been compromised as well as made compromises ourselves in order to become who we are. And we've all been taken advantage of. And that's something that, even if somebody isn't queer, you can probably find some spot in that. But I mean, fuck, man, everybody's queer. It's just some people don't admit it. Uh, Fucking idiots. We all make compromises to get where we are in life, and that's what I love about the way that the movie ends when Hedwig is walking out into the streets after their final little scene on the stage. And honestly, I feel like that was them accepting who they are and just being like, well, fuck it, this is my next goddamn chapter. I'm ready to be who I am.
And
And
it's a beautiful song that brings us there too, and it's such a swell and
your blood knows the way from your heart to your brain, knows that you're whole,
and really it's redemptive, and it's an anthem. I think he's walking off. I mean, all the strange rock and rollers, you're doing all right. And it's we end this movie with this sense of the possibility of things being okay, and that's the possibility of that is enough. We have all experienced those things, but very few of us will have experienced the loss and the betrayal on the level of the character of Hedwig, and we watch how she is able to overcome that, and that is a reassuring sense. Like let's put our bullshit into perspective, and like look at this. Look at what this person has been able to do. I can do that. I can get past this thing. I can find the courage to say this thing that I need to say. I can find the courage to be this thing that I need to be. And it's a weirdly inspiring story.
My very favorite thing about this entire movie is the way that it ends isn't like it's all come together and it's all fucking pretty. It's saying, yeah, I am ready and I have the opportunity to be okay. And
exactly.
They're going forward and doing that.
That's
part of where it goes.
The liminal quality of this movie. It's like all of the stuff that matters the most is this between part. It's the act of becoming. It's not the act of being. It's the act of becoming. And that's so tantalizing and leaves me with like such a great feeling, because it doesn't give me a pat ending that I believe is bullshit. It gives me the possibility of hope, which is less bullshit. And before we lose this again, we should wrap up, because I don't know when this might just decide to suddenly finish.
This is true.
Yeah, I'm very glad to be able to share this with you. I think that it's a great way to kick off Pride Month. I know that people know this story, people know this movie. This is nothing new to a lot of people. I'm glad to share it with someone who hasn't seen it before. I hope that you will watch it 100 more times. And
I'm sure I will.
And the songs are just the songs are fantastic, and
they are.
And it rocks, dude. It's a rockin' soundtrack, and even completely separate from the story, the songs are fantastic. And I think people need this story maybe now more than they did even 25 years ago. So seek it out. It is never streaming anywhere.
It's a wonderful movie. I'd ask what the movie's actually about, but I'm pretty sure that we both kind of spewed it out in our own little ways already.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is a movie that is, I mean, the whole conversation is about what this movie is about, and that's I love a movie that invites that. And you know what? It's better than RoboCop, Ted. It is
better than
actually
RoboCop.
it's actually better than
And
RoboCop.
I'm also going to put this out there before the thing cuts off. If aliens think that you shouldn't eat meat, they're just being dicks. I mean, if they're going to travel,
Are they going to eat
however, maybe, but I mean, if they're traveling this many light years or through different dimensions to come here and be like, "Hey, your culinary game's fucked," fuck off.
They're pretty judgy.
It's rude.
I
Why
love
don't we
you,
try and
Ted.
be friends? I love you too, Matt.
I'm gonna say I love you, Ted, right now because this could suddenly end at any time because we're at like 39 and a half minutes.
Yeah, it's true. We're
And
probably out.
I don't want to accidentally not say that I love you, Ted. Now back to the aliens who hate you because you are eating jerky.
Hey, aliens.
Dick jerky.
Come on, guys.
Aliens don't even like the dick biting machine.
They probably don't.
I hope their dicks get bitten off.
I hope they figure out better Rube Goldberg machines that make you not eat meat. Jesus Christ. Come on, guys. Get your shit together. Fuck.
Maybe they can go back in time using the time travel device and teach One-Eyed Willie to make better Rube Goldberg devices.
Ones that would stand like the test of time and like really work instead of in fairyland. Jesus.
Yeah. And also don't involve startling a chicken.
Hey, that chicken got scared real good. Shat out an egg.
They have to scare that chicken every time they open the gate.
Yeah?
I'm not buying it, Ted.
Well, maybe it's other chickens.
All right, that is enough of this. Until next time, I don't know what we're doing next time, but I'm sure it'll be amazing.
I'm sure it'll be great. We'll figure it out, and you know what? It's probably not going to be judgmental aliens.
Probably not. Although maybe now I kind of want to find something that's just about judgmental aliens.
I'm sure there's something out there.
Those imperious bastards. All right. I love you, Ted.
Love you too, Matt.
Until next time.
Until next time.
The Depot Devoid is that place your mind goes when you've lost your train of thought, but you haven't found a new one. The Depot Devoid podcast is hosted by Matt Fagan and Ted Fagan. Depot Devoid is not hosted by Ian Fagan because he died and we miss him. Find our full video episodes at Depot Devoid Podcast on YouTube. On social media, you can find us at Depot Devoid Podcast on Blue Sky, and for now, still on Facebook and Instagram. Or you can email us at depotdevoidpodcast@gmail.com. And of course, you can listen to the show on all of your favorite podcast platforms.